Picture this, your family's dream trip to Disney World. But the reality for millions of people is shoulder-to-shoulder crowds, the highest prices of the year, and waiting in line for hours just to ride Space Mountain. It's the single biggest mistake people make, and it can turn a magical vacation into a stressful, exhausting, and honestly disappointing mess. But what if you could find those magical windows that do have smaller crowds, somewhat lower prices, and a little more breathing room? Well, you can. In this video, we're going to show you how to spot the absolute worst times to go and how to find the perfect dates for the Disney vacation you actually want. All right, first things first, we need to bust a huge myth. The idea of a true off-season at Disney World is pretty much ancient history. If you're imagining weeks on end with empty parks, I'm sorry to be the one to break the bad news. Thanks to a calendar that is jam-packed with special events, that quiet season doesn't really exist anymore. For example, Epcot. There are 4 massive festivals that practically run into each other year-round. First, there's Festival of the Arts in the winter, Flower and Garden in the spring and early summer, Food and Wine in the fall, and Festival of the Holidays to wrap up the year. On top of that, you have multiple Run Disney Marathon weekends that bring in tens of thousands of runners and their families. And of course, there are the super popular after-hours parties for both Halloween and Christmas. That means that even during traditionally slower months, you'll hit pockets of huge crowds. Planning a trip isn't about finding an off-season anymore. It's about finding the sweet spots in between. The mistake isn't just picking a bad time, it's not realizing the definition of a good time has completely changed. Now, let's get into the absolute worst times you could possibly pick. First up, the times that should feel obvious, but you'd be shocked at how many people walk right into the trap thinking, how bad can it really be? Spoiler, it can be that bad. The biggest offender is the last 2 weeks of December. The week of Christmas through New Year's Day is without question the busiest and most expensive time of the entire year. We're talking crowds so thick that parks, especially Magic Kingdom, can hit capacity and literally stop letting people in. Hotel and ticket prices are at their absolute peak, and wait times for popular rides can be just staggering. The decorations are beautiful, yes, but the stress of swimming through that sea of people can drain the magic right out of your day. Next up, Thanksgiving week. A lot of families see the school break as the perfect time to go, but it's a massive trap. Crowds are just as intense as at Christmas time, hitting near park levels all week. There's also a smaller but noticeable crowd bump in early November when many school districts in the Northeast have their fall breaks, causing a surge of families heading south right before the Thanksgiving rush really kicks in. And then, of course, there's spring break. The tricky part here is that spring break isn't just 1 week. It's a rolling wave of crowds that starts in mid-March and doesn't let up until after Easter in mid-April. And of course, that depends when Easter falls, because different schools and colleges all take their breaks at different times. The week leading up to Easter is especially wild and can be just as busy as Christmas. Finally, don't sleep on the holiday weekends. Martin Luther King Jr. Day, President's Day, Memorial Day, and Labor Day all cause big condensed crowd surges that can catch you by surprise if you're not ready for them. Now, let's talk about the season that fools more people than any other, summer. For generations, summer was the time for a family vacation. But at Disney World today, it's a triple threat of problems. First, the crowds. While summer might not hit the absolute peak chaos of Christmas week anymore, don't get it twisted, it is still incredibly busy. With schools out around the world, June and July are packed with families, which means long lines for everything from rides to ordering a Mickey pretzel. But the bigger issue, the one that makes so many people swear off a summer trip forever, is the weather. Florida in June, July, and August is brutally hot and humid. We're talking temperatures in the 90s that feel like 100 plus degrees. The humidity is like wearing a wet blanket, and you can bet on a massive rainstorm almost every single afternoon. That kind of heat isn't just uncomfortable, it's draining, and it can make walking around the parks miserable, especially for kids. And the third part of the triple threat? the price. Since demand is high, you're paying premium prices for tickets and hotels to be in the parks during the most uncomfortable weather of the year. You're paying more to have less fun. It's a tough sell. Okay, we've gone through all the times to avoid, but before we reveal the sweet spots for your trip, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. We put out videos like this all the time to help you plan a smarter Disney vacation. And if this advice is helping you out, give this video a like. So, if you've dodged the holidays and the summer heat, when should you go? Let's break down the best times to visit, the ones that offer the perfect mix of lower crowds, better weather, and more reasonable pricing. The absolute sweet spot is late January, right after Martin Luther King Jr. Day weekend. Holiday crowds are long gone, and you're left with some of the quietest weeks of the entire year. The weather is cooler. You might even need a light jacket at night, but it's perfect for walking around the parks all day. Plus, hotel and ticket prices are at their lowest value rates of the year. Next up is early February. That little window between the Super Bowl and President's Day week is another fantastic time with lower crowds and crisp, comfortable weather. This is also right in the middle of Epcot's Festival of the Arts, which is a fan favorite and arguably the best festival of the year. Another golden window is from late April to early May. All the spring break and Easter crowds have cleared out, but the summer rush hasn't begun. Crowds are generally manageable, and you get that beautiful spring weather before the intense summer humidity arrives. And finally, if you love the holiday decorations but hate the holiday crowds, aim for the first 2 weeks of December. Right after Thanksgiving weekend, there's a wonderful lull. You get to see all the festive decorations and gingerbread houses with much lighter crowd levels before things get crazy again mid-month. Now, I have to mention the most controversial best time to go, the month of September. If your number one goal is avoiding crowds, this is your month. Historically, it is one of the least crowded times of the year, especially right after Labor Day. With kids back in school, the parks can feel wonderfully manageable, and prices are often at their absolute lowest. So what's the catch? The weather. September is still very hot and humid, and more importantly, it's the absolute peak of hurricane season. While a direct hit on Orlando is rare, a tropical storm in the area could mean days of nonstop rain and wind, which can definitely throw a wrench in your plans. It's a high-risk, high-reward option. If you get lucky with the weather, you can have an amazing, uncrowded vacation, but you have to go in knowing that there's a real risk of a storm. So, there you have it. The biggest mistake you can make is just blindly booking a trip during a major holiday or the middle of summer. You're just setting yourself up for a vacation filled with huge crowds, high prices, and frustratingly long waits. By avoiding those peak times, Christmas, Thanksgiving, spring break, and summer, and aiming for those magical windows in late January, early February, late April, or early December, you can completely change your Disney World experience. You'll trade long lines for relaxed strolls down Main Street, you'll save a little money, and you'll actually get to enjoy the parks in comfortable weather. You'll give yourself the gift of a truly magical, low-stress vacation. And that's what a Disney World trip is all about. What's the biggest mistake you've ever made planning a Disney trip? Or do you have a secret best time to visit that we might have missed? Let us know down in the comments. And for more tips to help you master your next Disney vacation, be sure to check out our videos on navigating the Lightning Lane system right here. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you in the